good. Greetings from Nigeria to you, Sam and David. What's your take on the Gospel of Barnabas? How did Muhammad find his way into the book? It even claimed Muhammad was the first name shown to Adam. Consequence. Just look up basically any writing on the Gospel of Barnabas that does not come from a Muslim apologist, right? Any historian, anyone who examines manuscripts, the Gospel of Barnabas is a forgery written more than 1,000 years after the real Barnabas died, and it's written in Italian, right? It's not written in ancient Greek. It's not written in Latin. It's written in Italian, right? That's a comparatively recent language, right? Not only that, it contradicts this. Doesn't it contradict Islam, right? So
yes,
yeah. So yeah, according to that, Jesus is not even the Messiah.
No,
right?
It says Muhammad is the Messiah, and that he's not worthy to untie.
Does that line up with the Quran?
No,
yeah,
the only Messiah in the Quran is Jesus. Here, chapter 3, verse 45. The angels announced to Mary a word from him, from Allah. Kalimat minhu, ismuhu, whose name is Jesus the Messiah. Messiah, Jesus. Al-Masih, Jesus, son of Mary. There is no other Messiah beside Jesus in the Quran. So if the Gospel of Barnabas is true, then the Quran is false. Mm-hmm. So you can't have your cake and eat it too.
And so if a Muslim's saying, oh, the Gospel of Barnabas, say, great, you've just refuted Islam. If you believe that this actually comes from Barnabas, you just refuted Islam, right? Because the Gospel of Barnabas says Jesus is not the Messiah. So it rejects the Quran. Thank you, my Muslim friend, for refuting that. Yeah, now, if you're talking to anyone who's intellectually honest, you can point out this thing was written more than 1,000 years after Barnabas died. So notice, there are forgeries, and there are forgeries over the centuries, right? Some are from the 2nd century, some are from the 3rd century, some are from the 4th century. You have these Gnostic Gospels and things like that. Here you're talking about more than 1,000 years later in a completely different language, right? So it's absolutely ridiculous. And besides that, the author clearly didn't know the basics, right? Actual historians are amazed when they go to the Gospels and they look at the details of the land and the geography, and they realize how accurate it is, right? How accurate the sources are. The author of the Gospel of Barnabas, who was an apostate who had converted to Islam but hadn't yet learned much about Islam to know that he shouldn't be saying that Jesus isn't the Messiah. He knew next to nothing about 1st century. He even says that the disciples sailed to Nazareth. You can't sail to Nazareth. It's in the middle of the land on a high up on a hill, right? How are you going to sail there? You can't, right? So that's basically it. Yeah. There is no one except Muslim apologists who takes this seriously, and really it's just another evidence of how deceptive Muslim apologists are, right? That they would if they actually go and look this up and research it, they have to know that it's false. They absolutely have to, because that's what
he laughs. LOL.
Yeah, that's what every expert in the field would say. This thing is a joke. No one would ever take this seriously. But Muslim apologists know that they can't go to Matthew, they can't go to Mark, they can't go to Luke, they can't go to John. They have to go somewhere. And so they're so desperate that they will actually go from something that's written more than 1,000 years after the time of Jesus and claim that this is the proof of Islam. Why? Because they know that their followers are so incredibly gullible, and they've been trained all their lives to trust what their apologists say, that they'll just believe them. So they know they can get away with the deception. Now so that's a really sad state of affairs, but that's the situation in Islam, sadly. Just so you know, there's a positive side to that, right? When you look at the reasons that Muslims give, that they've heard from people like Zakir Naik and Ahmed Deedat and so on, the arguments that they've been given that supposedly confirm Islam, it's sad that Muslims are trained to believe all of this nonsense that they hear. The positive side about this is that Muslim apologists have built the confidence of Muslims up on so many pillars of absolute deception that they've made it very easy for a well-trained Christian to just go in there and wreak havoc and and smash all those pillars to powder, right? And so by laying out so much deception over the years and building Islam on all these pillars of deception, that allows people to go in there and say, no, your Quran hasn't been perfectly preserved. No, the Quran does not contain these scientific miracles. No, the Gospel of Barnabas is not an authentic gospel. No, you can just go down the line. And what you're looking for, as we pointed out before, is a kind of light switch moment where a Muslim recognizes, whoa, I've believed everything these guys have told me all my life. And it's never occurred to me to go out and research it. But you guys are showing us actual facts and showing us that what my leaders, my scholars, my sheikhs, my apologists have been telling me all my life is demonstrably false. It's not like a difference of opinion. It's any idiot could go spend 10 minutes researching this and see that it's false. And the light switch moment is when they say, wait a minute, if they were telling me to believe in the gospel of Barnabas, and the gospel of Barnabas is recognized as absolute nonsense by every person who's ever read it, what else have these guys been lying to me about? That's someone who is on his way out of Islam. Because once they start questioning, they're on their way out of Islam.
Two things again.
Mari ikut Yesus. Mari ke jalan yang benar. Tuhan berkati.